Yo, are we live? Let's see. Yep, I think so. What's up, everybody? What's up, guys? Let me make sure we are live and good to go. This is our very first live stream. We're doing something different, something unique, and let's get this going. Let me make sure Gemini checks off on the live stream. We need to give it a title. Okay, let's go ahead and update the stream. Okay, where is it? It's gonna update. This is our very first stream here. Yeah, we'll get back right into it. We're gonna be building something cool with cursor. So yeah. I'll explain everything in just a moment. Okay. I believe we're good to go. Yep. Make sure that we have our live and our audio works. Make sure the audio works. Yep. Okay. All right, we should be good. We should be good. All right, guys. Let's just get started. Hope you guys are doing well. This is the very first stream for Mergestorm. We're trying to do something different. We are trying to essentially teach you guys, or just vibe code. Some people call it vibe coding. Other people call it real development. We're going to try to do real development. And the idea is we're going to be building a cool tool that you guys can use, every developer can use, and I'll try to do my best to kind of walk you through how we would build this, and pretty much you'll see me prompting in real time the models, and you will see me trying to build this and essentially work on this. I'll try not to leak any secrets in .envs. I'll try to do my best, but here it is, X-Copilot. So let me just kind of explain here. I'll take this off, and so we have this X account. So this is the repo. It is a public repo. We're going to be doing everything in public. We just created a basic scaffold. Let me just show you guys, explain where we're at right now. So this is an X-Copilot. The idea I had was, this is a dashboard you can run locally, or maybe we can publish this on Cloudflare later. The idea is we take this dashboard and it will search your X account through browser session cookies. So without touching the X API, you don't need that. You just need the auth token, which we'll get in just a moment. Once you have the auth token, it's going to use an agent like DeepSeek using open code with tools, LLM calls to essentially look for conversations that you want the agent to, it looks for conversations that it thinks is going to be good to help your agenda. So you define an agenda in terms of what you want the X-Copilot to do, whether it's to grow your engagement, maybe get some users or customers, whatever it is. I'm going to start with something basic like just growing engagement. And then from then on, we're going to try and build this. And it's going to tell you exactly which conversations you should reply to. And it's going to essentially create a template reply for you. So you just have to click a button and paste the reply. You can still modify the reply, and a human still needs to look over it, but we're going to build it so that it makes it a little bit easier for you, so you know you don't have to just scroll on X and find conversation yourselves. Yes, you can still do that, but you can just use this dashboard to try and help grow your X account. So let me just go here. Again, I just started this in terms of, we just created this MVP, and here's the Canvas report. So I'm just going to go over this really quickly. So we have this research and reply assistant, everything. So the first thing I do have, I'm running this on a different server. So X-Copilot, I think we have, do we have npm run dev? Yes, we do. So we do have a npm run dev. We can fire this up on localhost. So let's go back to Firefox. Make sure, what do we have so far? We should have some basic, we should have a basic scaffold so we know what we're working with. So this is going to be a Vite deployment with a backend in TypeScript. We're just going to do a simple TypeScript backend. Looks like it's not really loading, well. So we got some technical issues. Okay, let's see what cursor says. It looks like we might not have the best connection right now, so it might take a minute to load. Also, I think there might be additional ports. I have a lot of ports forwarded, so let me just unforward this port and let's restart this. Sometimes if you have ports forwarded, it looks like it's not very responsive. So we have slight connection issues here. Let me see. So cursor will just forward the port if you are running this through a server and you're not running this locally. I'm not running this locally right now. Well, I probably should. All right, we have, let me just go ahead and open this in a different window here. We do have everything we need, mostly. This is going to be a little bit of a rough start because I need to make sure we have all the information we need. Let me see. Oh, what happened? All right. It was just gonna be a slightly slow start, but we're gonna get everything. So you gotta get everything done easy. Okay, I think we're good. I know it's gonna be a little bit of a rough start. We're gonna get this going. All right, let me see. Localhost. We're just getting the Vite front end set up. Okay, this is good. I think you guys can see this. All right, we're starting right here. We have X-Copilot. So you give it an agenda, and it is going to essentially search for threads and find them. But shipping AI tools in public, prefer a question. So this is, in our case, we're trying to just find other builders who are shipping AI tools more. So first thing we're going to try to search threads and showing placeholder cards. So we're not wired in. So I think the first thing we want to do is wire in the X API stuff. So let's try to ask a cursor here. So all right, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and set up the X API session key. This is one of those things where it allows you, you have to do some weird stuff. You have to log into X. You have to go to your inspect. You go to your network stack. Here, I'll show you guys. It's a little bit weird, but what you do is you go to your X like this, and there's going to be some session cookies that you have to find. I think you just restart it, and there's going to be some session cookies up in here, and you're going to have to find it. You have to search for it and find it. So I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to show you guys exactly the session cookies because that will leak my session cookie and anyone will be able to access my X. But I'm going to give you the big picture of how it's done, especially with cursor. Let's see how they say. So we're going to write a basic test on cursor. The first thing we want to do is just get this search feature working with the API and the search. So we have the API source. Okay. This is just a front end right here. We do have the API. I guess right here it's a server. I'm not sure why it's doing MJS. We're going to switch it to TypeScript, of course. But right now we just want just the very bare bones. We just want to get the XAuth token so that our system is able to access X through our session. That's just the very basic table stakes right now. So once we get that figured out, then we can start tuning it a little bit more. But this is a relatively simple product that shouldn't take too long to build. So it's We did create a test for a session, and it's gonna help us explain. It should explain exactly how to get the session. I don't remember exactly, but you have to search for a certain cookie. So here it is. So you log into X, you go to DevTools application cookies. So I'm gonna do that right now. I should probably do this on Chrome. So we're gonna do this really quick. So we go to X, you go right click, inspect. Okay, and then we go cookies. Where we go? We go to DevTools application cookies. Okay, let's see. DevTools application cookies. We have x.com cookies right here that I'm seeing. And the next step is you need to copy the value for auth token and CT0. Okay, so we were looking for auth token right here. I got the value, so I'm going to paste it into the env. Now, how do I do this without leaking everything? We're going to just put on Firefox for now while we do this X secret stuff. So you will have to do this yourself. So we're adding the X auth token. You just search for it. And the other one is the CT0. I'm not sure what it is or what it does, but that's what this, yeah. These are two values I'm assuming help you make sure that you are able to grab access it. So there we go. We got the env stuff. So now I can go ahead and bring it back cursor. So we got the two sessions. Now I'm going to tell it, okay, the auth token and the CT0 have been set in the env. Can you go ahead and run the smoke tests now? Make sure that the session is set up correctly. So I'll just do a basic start simple basic sanity check here, so we get the session cookies and everything, and it's going to just verify and do the smoke test. Cookies are loaded, verify credentials, and URL return 404. Trying the alternate X/Twitter session endpoints. Okay, so we're still missing a couple of stuff. Legacy 1.1 account endpoints are returning 404. Trying browser-like headers. Yes, so it looks like we have, and a lot of times X does update their APIs, so okay, it says session is valid, so it was able to find a different way to do this. Verify credential is dead, switching to the smoke test to a working endpoint. So it looks like X did update their APIs, so whatever old methods you were using is not going to work, so you need to switch up the methods, but Cursor Grok 4.5 is happy to help. Now, we're still using MJS, which I'm really not a big fan of. The first thing we're going to do is migrate. So before we do anything, this is mostly there's some addition here. So we're going to actually have it open up APR for this. Yeah, because we did add some stuff. We just want to make sure whatever we added is decent. Oh, looks like my mouse ran out of battery. Wow, 1 second. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna have to charge my mouse. It ran out of batteries at the perfect time. It's okay. Charge it for a couple of minutes and then let it ride. So let's see where we're at. Alright. No mouse. No mouse now. So let me see, guys. Are we still live? Yep. Alright. So we got the X sessions. And we got the PR up. So we're going to go ahead and open this PR in Firefox and show you guys. Here it is. It's, again, we're building in public. 360 lines, a couple of lines changed. So we are using Mergestorm for this. So we're going to go ahead and take a second. It's going to review the PRs. For those of you guys that are interested, We are doing Mergestorm is an AI code review agent. You can check it out, mergestorm.ai. Looks like there it is, some DNS stuff. Wow. And yeah, we have a couple of PRs getting reviewed. So we have a AI code review agent pipeline that you guys can check out. We have a free plan if you guys are interested. So we are using Mergestorm for this. Right now, Vortex is doing a review for this code. Just let's see what we got here. It was mostly just the new server stuff with the MJS file. We're gonna convert this into TypeScript, and same with this scripts. We're gonna just convert this to TypeScript probably. So because our front end is already a simple SPA Vite page. I like to say Vite. Some people say Vite. But MJS just doesn't feel right. So we're going to definitely convert this to TS. This will take a little bit of time to review this PR, so maybe we can chill for a little bit. This isn't a huge PR, so it should get reviewed pretty easily. In the meantime, we could start working on the next thing already, but we're just going to give it a second and wait for the PR to review. We could work on the front end and on some other integrations, but for now, let me just get this PR out of the way because we want to convert to TypeScript. So I don't want to stack PRs if we still have this one going. Once we kind of have a little bit more meat on the table, we can then start doing parallel work on back end and front end and some other things. But right now, we just have a single really code base, super small, so we're just gonna wait on this PR to clear. Might take some time. It shouldn't be very long. Vortex is pretty fast. This is only 7 files, so we'll give it a moment. All right, looks like we got a couple of things to take care of. Is some servers issue, some GraphQL stuff, and we have some sessions. So this is all, tedious stuff that I'll let my junior engineers handle, aka Cyclone. So we got Vortex is the one that does the reviews, and then we have Cyclone. It's the one that's going to automatically patch this. It's really nice. It essentially grabs your latest commit right here, clones it, applies these changes, and then pushes it. Everything is isolated. It does try to run some type checks on this as much as it can. If there is any scripts or tests, it does try to run them, especially compilation stuff. And if it doesn't, it'll still try to push it, but it's really good. We've been using Cyclone a lot, and it saves you a lot of time, so you don't have to copy paste this stuff to your agents. You just let it churn through, and then by the time it's done, it should be good. There's a couple of small issues. Cyclone does handle them pretty well. Going back to the X-Copilot again, we're just gonna, this is a very simple Vite front end. There's nothing fancy here, but the idea is essentially it's going to go ahead and search threads. So I'm not sure if it can do that right now. But let's see if I can search it. Right now, we still haven't wired in actual searching or doing anything like this for now. So we're just still building. We got the very basic session API key connected. And once this PR is done, I believe the next thing we're going to do is likely try to move it. Just do a small follow-up PR to convert everything to TypeScript. Make sure with our API. And we're just going to set up inference. So this is going to be a little bit of boring for a lot of you guys. Maybe the first part might be a little bit boring because we need to set up the proper infrastructure. So for each dev, each person has their own way of developing or using their own infrastructure, whichever way they think is best. In my case, what I like to do the most, what I'm comfortable with, and I'm not saying that's the best way, is to use PM2 Manager, especially if you're running node processes. Use PM2 Manager script to manage it's going to manage your processes. So in this case, we only have one API process, but we need it stable. So we're going to use PM2 to keep it stable, give it an OOM memory safeguard, so there's some memory allocated to the process. In case it hits OOM, it'll be able to restart. And also, obviously, we need proper logging. So we're gonna do this all in the next PR. As soon as this one clears, in the next PR, we're just gonna go ahead and convert this to TypeScript and add PM2 managers and add a PM2 manager script with the ecosystems with the ecosystems file. So yeah, we're doing this live, so there's gonna be a couple of things that might be a little bit boring. So I'm gonna start recording this. So if I do end up making a video out of this, I can just cut off all the boring stuff, like waiting for the review agent. So again, here you see Cyclone did patch this, and now we're back into Vortex doing the review. And this is, you're gonna be seeing this a lot, guys. Usually we're not gonna be sitting here waiting for these reviews to finish, but in this case, we can't really work too much. We could, if we really wanted to, we could try to do some more front end stuff, but this kind of touches the whole app. So, and this is one of the very first PRs. So let's just get through this cleanly, and then we're gonna go ahead and start our next one. So usually I do like to open issues when I do PRs, because even if it's not technically an issue, even if you're implementing a feature, if you open an issue that's properly scoped and gives you a proper overview of what you need to fix, the AI agents are able to get a lot more context for the review, and it makes it a lot better, because the more context you could give the agents, the better knowledge and better understanding they get of your review. So again, Cyclone is relatively fast with all of this. Oh, actually, here we go. Already we have Cyclone did patch it, and Vortex came out with a couple of other issues. So here we have 7 out of 7 files reviewed, and Vortex noticed there's a couple of small things, mostly with just the env variables silently ignored. So it's just cleaning up a little bit of our files. Cyclone is going to patch this, no problem, and I think maybe 1 or 2 more cycles max, and we'll get this done. This is just one of the first PRs, so it can get a little bit messy the very first time. So yeah, right now I'm pretty much just a waiting game for this to finish churning. And usually my advice is I like to work on multiple projects while I'm doing this. So right now we're just working on a single project because this is a live stream. But usually I'll be working on multiple projects. So while this is churning, I'll just switch to a different project that I'm working on and throw a prompt for there. So just gotta wait out a little bit. Wait it out. It's relatively fast, as you can see. Now Cyclone is done doing the patching. We're gonna have Vortex do a quick follow-up review with the latest changes. There it is. The Vortex does ACK with a thumbs up, saying that it went ahead and got the webhook from GitHub, and now we are going to Vortex is gonna throw another one. Now we could also throw Tempest. If you guys want to check out, we have under our automations tab, you can see we have a couple of, we need to update this to Opus 5. Actually, we're going to update this. Opus 5, Fable 5, of course, Kimi K3, and Sonnet 5. Tempest review is a nice one if you guys want to throw on Tempest when you're doing big changes, like you have some stacked PRs and you have some nice big changes. Tempest is really nice. It gives you a nice systematic overview of your it gives you a nice systematic overview of your PR, and it kind of looks more at how the architecture fits in or doesn't fit in with your bigger picture. It not necessarily follows code paths and looks at like function definitions. This one is more about looking at how the code path fits into the larger picture. So Fable is nice, of course, if you need something big. Opus for Grenade, I recommend Sonnet or Kimi because the agent itself is already designed for systematic review, and you don't really need Opus or Fable. I mean, it is nice if you're doing something super complex or you need to be 100% sure that what you're doing is correct, or you need some second opinion. Fable is nice for this, but usually I recommend Sonnet or Kimi K3. Kimi K3 is pretty much a distilled version of Fable, and most of the time you don't really need Fable level intelligence for this. Okay, so we're still on this repo, guys. We're still on this repo, and we're still building here. Now we're waiting on Vortex to finish the review. If Vortex gives us the all clear, that said we're done, we can go ahead and move forward and merge this PR and start on our next one. So let's just hope it comes out clean here. But regardless, any changes it makes, these are really relatively irrelevant findings. I mean, just some API, some env variables that are maybe duplicated or something like this. It's not really a make it or break it situation, because these are gonna get updated a lot in the next couple of PRs. All right, guys, almost there. I think a couple of minutes and we'll be finished. Okay. As you see, more issues. Vortex identified a couple more issues. This time we got when badge count exceeds but the GraphQL viewer failed. A couple of race conditions. I'm sorry, a couple of edge cases. It looks like we have in a session export and a couple of type checking stuff. So just a little bit of basic stuff. Again, we've been going back and forth, and this is relatively normal to have 3, 4, 5, even 10 commits. From the PRs, that's why we recommend doing relatively small and focused PRs using Graphite. It's probably the best way you can do this if you're shipping big features that need to touch front end, back end, and some other services. Then it's a lot easier to ship a stack of PRs using Graphite, where you have one front end, one back end PR, and maybe some super-based migrations PR. A nice stack, 3, 4, 5 PRs. Each one is scoped. The review agents do understand stack PR context, so they understand when this is PR depends has the parent of this PR and the child of this PR. So it understands the bigger picture of the whole pull request, and also if you have an issue tagged to the PR, it makes it even better because the agent understands why you're doing this PR. So again, we're waiting on Vortex here, and I'm thinking already how we can kind of parallelize some of the work, but again, we can't do much until this PR is done. We don't want to stack PRs now because there's going to be conflict since this touches kind of everything. So we gotta have to wait, unfortunately, a little bit more. This is a more so waiting game right now, just to get this first PR merged. Again, as I mentioned before, if you guys are actually doing this by yourself, I'd recommend working on multiple projects. That's what I mean. You get some of the highest output this way because you're not really wasting any time. You're not sitting here waiting for PRs to finish churning. You always have another PR, and you're just jumping between. It's almost like multitasking. It's really addicting, and I highly recommend it. I've been doing this for years already, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. The thing is, when you're working on multiple projects like this, you are gonna have to like switch contexts in your brain, and at first it is really mind tiring, I guess. It's like it tires you out. I'm just gonna expand my camera a little bit, so just gonna be doing some talking while this PR churns. So I love switching contexts like this. It keeps things interesting. If you have 3 or 4 projects, different tabs, you just switch one tab, another tab, third tab, and then you go back to the PR that's churning. Oh, this PR got done, reviewed. Okay, merge this. What's the next step? So the way I've been doing this, I've been usually working off of audits or reports. So we have Fable or Kimi generate an audit or a report for your project, whatever you're working on. Generate an audit, and you work off that audit. The audit might have a lot of things. It might have like P0 issues, P1 issues, priority 0, priority 1. If it's a technical debt audit, you might have TD issues, technical debt issues. So you get a nice fat audit for Fable or Kimi, something that has a lot of stuff to do, and just one by one, you start hammering down every little issue. It's also, it's definitely addicting to just do these audits and kind of get through them. It feels like you're grinding through levels, and you're leveling up your system just by, getting rid of some technical debt or polishing some features or creating some additional pipelines. And again, this is the 4th or the 5th commit. Again, it's pretty fast because Vortex just identifying a couple of issues, Cyclone's patching them, bam, there it is, finally. So right now, after 4 commits, 4 back and forths, we converged. The loop converged. Mergestorm approved everything. We're merging. We're merging this, confirm the merge, and let's go ahead and delete the branch. Now let's go back onto the fun part. You can go ahead and bring back cursor here. So let's go back in cursor, and now we merge the PR. So the first thing I like to do is just tell it we merged the PR, deleted the branch, like this. We merged the PR and deleted the branch. Do the same on local git pull origin main, so you are in sync with the latest. And please go ahead and restart my services, which we don't really have any services now. So while it's doing that, what I wanted to do is I want to actually first investigate this. Okay, I want you to investigate this. I would like to make an issue in this PR, and first of all, my back end needs to be in TypeScript, not MJS. Also, we want a proper PM2 manager.sh script. It should have commands like PM2 manager.sh restart, prod, or just restart and start/stop. And also it should use PM2 log rotate to store logs in the X-Copilot/logs directory for our API. It should rotate the logs to not delete logs on restarts on PM2 manager.sh restart. So we're not deleting the logs. We're monitoring this through PM2. It will have an ecosystems file, but we are not tracking it. So we will need to create a ecosystems.example file. Other than that, I would. Okay, so that's it. So the idea is usually I would give it a prompt like this, and I'll say, make a plan. It makes the plan, build it. No, it's a little bit of a slightly better way to do this, where you give it this kind of prompt where you're telling it you want the API to be in TypeScript. I want the PM2 manager to manage the processes. I want an ecosystem file. I want the logs with log rotate. Okay, and now you say, now I want you to investigate this request and open up a proper issue on our repo. That's it. It's just gonna investigate what you told it, and it's gonna open up a proper issue and say, okay, this is the scope of what we want to do, what we want to get done, what we don't want to get done, etc., etc. So this is exactly what it's gonna do right now. We're gonna organism PM2 docs. I think it's getting a little bit confused because we do have another project called Organism, which is my second brain AI co-founder. We'll talk about it later. If you guys, we'll talk about this later. It is pretty public, and it's not public repo, but it's pretty good. So, regardless, it's investigated this issue, got the pattern from another project, which is good. In this case, I did have, even if it didn't have the pattern, it would just made it. So now we got this issue open. Okay, here's the issue. Just show you guys. I think we need to, 1 second, restart Firefox. It doesn't seem like it's actually. Okay, there we go. I was confused. Okay, there we go, guys. Is it actually? Oh, never mind. I'm on the wrong. It opened up with Chrome. Here it is. Here is the issue. Okay, TypeScript sidecar plus PM2 manager will log rotate, no log wipe on restart. Backend in TypeScript, not MJS. So this is the full issue. It's nice. It's essentially like a plan, but it's not quite a plan. It's not technically a plan, and it is, but it's not. So what we're going to do is we have this issue. This might be overkill, but if we do a plan, we go plan mode, and we say, okay, now I want you to make a plan. Go ahead and, based on the open issue, go ahead and make a plan to create one or a stack of PRs to the PM2 manager process to create the PM2 manager infra and migrate our API to pure TypeScript. So this is just a plan also for Graphite. If it's gonna ask for a stack of PRs, the only thing is we need to authenticate with Graphite. So maybe we do that. I'm going to ask it to do that later. In case it doesn't want a stack of PRs, if it decides to do a single PR, then we don't really need Graphite for now. But Graphite is really nice, but it's two stacked PRs. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to have to do a follow-up is this. Okay, so since you decided to do 2 stacked PRs, I need you to download Graphite, and I will authenticate with it. Also, you will need to add cursor rule to make sure that we are not opening these stack PRs using GH. We need to properly use GT submit so it actually creates a stack on Graphite. Now this is for stacked PRs. It's a little bit advanced. I just recently learned about this, but I've been using Graphite now for a couple of days, and the stacked PRs things just seem like a nice logical step if you want to elevate your workflow. So this is a little bit weird. I'm thinking maybe we just let it open it normal. We'll just authenticate Graphite later, but let's just go ahead and ask it. We're still in plan mode, so I'm not sure how far it will get. And we might have Graphite already installed, and if we do, then I can... do we have Graphite installed? I'm not sure if we have it installed on this server, so for worst case, we'll just have to install it. Yeah, let me go ahead and install Graphite really quick. Graphite CLI, okay, where are we at? Graphite, there it is. We just need to go to our CLI and install it. We can just install it ourselves, I guess. We got the cursor rule. Install GT. Okay, so let's do that. We can install Graphite. No, brew. Okay, wait a second. Yeah, npm, baby. npm. We're going to install Graphite through npm. And we're going to then create a new token. In Graphite, you're not seeing this. So in Graphite, you do this, and we have the auth token. I don't think I can reveal this for a second, so let me just... Oh, we're not even showing cursor. That's not a thing where I'm going to have to make sure that I'm showing cursor when needed. So let's go ahead and switch back to cursor. Okay, so at this point, we have GT installed. And all we need to do is I'm just going to go to Graphite, make sure that my new repo that I just created is actually synced up. Because sometimes... So this one is called X-Copilot. Yep. So we go ahead and sync the repo. Okay, perfect. So now we do have Graphite all set up, and here's our plan. We're just going to click Build. Grok 4.5, I've been using it a lot. It's nice and cheap. And honestly, so far, we haven't done anything complicated. Nothing that really deserves ours to use. Nothing that really deserves us using something like Opus or Fable. I mean, this is real basic stuff. So now it's doing the authentication with Graphite. It's going to go ahead and... I'm going to plug in my phone. It's going to go ahead and start the PRs. Open up the two PRs. Should be open as a Graphite stack. Now, I'll show you guys in Graphite the UI. I'll log into Graphite and I'll show you guys how it works. But if you guys are interested in doing stack PRs, this is, again, it's not necessary. You can just open up two PRs separately, branching off a main, but it's just a little bit cleaner. And it's not even just about, let's be clean for the sake of being clean. It's also because you have stacked PRs, when Vortex and Cyclone are doing reviews on those PRs, they get the full context. They understand that this PR with these changes is still part of a larger frame where it has this PR and is based on this issue. So this so far is probably my favorite workflow, especially with Mergestorm and Cyclone, where you have an issue that's tagged to your stacked PRs, for example. So that means that agents are understanding why you're doing this PR, and also the stack of PRs makes it easier to, if both PRs pass cleanly, it's just a one button click, merge both PRs, it's going to automatically do all the merging. It's really nice. So anyway, speaking of stacked PRs, so let me explain what it's doing. Right now, what is it doing? It's updating the README. It's removing the MJS files because we said, no, thank you. We don't want MJS. We're going to do TypeScript, X sessions with TypeScript. Yeah. We're going to log in everything, create the Graphite PR branch with TypeScript migrations. But we don't have any super base on this one. We're trying to keep it super lean. Vite plus React dashboard is simplest, not even Next.js, because we don't need any crazy, server-side loading optimizations. This is something you run locally on yourself, for yourself. And regardless, Vite is super nice and easy to work with. So we have the ecosystems config file, and we have the real one. We have the pm2manager.sh script. We have the README packages. So it is updating. The README is going pretty stable. So now here we go, the Graphite PR. So let me go ahead and log into Graphite so I can show you guys how it looks on Graphite. I need to log in on Firefox here. So, oh, never mind. We can log in with GitHub. Yeah, Graphite. I recently learned about it. I mean, technically, it does like code reviews, but we do have our own code review agent pipeline. But really, the thing I like about this is, did it open it up as a single PR? Yeah. Never mind. It's a stack. Okay, beautiful. So here it is. I'll show you guys the stack on Graphite. My camera is a little bit big. Let me make it a little bit smaller so you guys can see. I feel like I should move it to the bottom maybe, but let's just move it here. So as you can see, here's our stack PRs. A stack here. We have a stack of 2 PRs on Graphite, and essentially, see, ready to merge, ready to merge. It's not necessarily like, it's not the Graphite doesn't exactly give you the correct status, because obviously it's not ready to merge because we're doing a review on it. And also another thing that really is annoying is like, I don't really have a way to get out of Graphite to get the PRs on GitHub to show up. So I have to manually go to PRs and this. But let me look at the issues. I want to make sure that the PR is tagged with the issue. We did tag it here, so it should be linked to the issue. So once we close these PRs, the issue should be also closed. So migrate sidecar to TypeScript. It's getting reviewed right now. Same style as before. Vortex is going to throw on a review on it. This is a little bit of a larger diff here, 10 files. So it might go back and forth for a little bit, but this is mostly back-end stuff. And what else we have? Yeah, this is just it. We have back-end stuff and the PM2 manager stuff. So this is just the basic infra. They're both getting this. They both should be getting this review. But as you can see here, all the files that it changed here is the PM2 manager sh. So let me look here why it didn't trigger a review. Let's see. Interesting. Let me check why. We're gonna have to switch. We can trigger this review manually, but I don't really want to do this. I'm actually curious to see why we didn't actually trigger it correctly. So this one, okay, it got the initial review and it got the initial pass. Oh, here we go. Now it's triggered. Sometimes it looks like it might be a little bit delayed, which is not great. We can handle this, but yeah, so it is doing both reviews right now for both PRs, and it should be done pretty fast. So we're just going to wait it out just a little bit. If you guys have any questions about what we're building, please let me know. Yep. Yeah, so we're still just waiting on the PRs to finish churning. And then we get the 2 PRs with the back end, and we'll get the rest. Okay, we're just waiting a little bit. A lot of times we're just vibe coding here, so it's going to take a couple of minutes, but we'll be right back. Let me see something. All right, guys. Okay, let's see. So where are we at, guys? Where are we at? All right, it looks like the migrate sidecar to TypeScript one is done. Is it really done? Cyclone is done. Let's see if Vortex finishes it. So Cyclone has done some updates. What do we got? I don't even really look too much at these, but yeah, the tests. We got some issues with tests. Nothing too crazy. And there's a couple. There's quite a few issues that I found. There's 700 lines, so this is expected. Just a couple of issues. Vortex will get right back onto it. And so the idea is when this is done, we'll just click right here and we'll just merge both the PRs in one click. But it is not done yet. We need to wait a little bit. So a couple more minutes and we should be able to get this all done, squared away. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to follow me on X, we try to share, build a lot of cool stuff. We're building some meeting Copilot agents as well. We have a visual agent. We have a couple of cool little tools. I always like to build something on stream. We also have the core products that we're working on, and this is more like a side project that we're helping explain the way we do the workflows. And maybe some of you guys can learn from this, developer workflow. Right, so we're still waiting on Graphite. Really not waiting on Graphite. We're just waiting on these two PRs to finish churning. So, yeah, let's just wait it out. We're gonna wait for the bottom stack and then the up stack now. I'm thinking if can we actually do some front end stuff, but there's no real need for it. So we're just gonna wait it out and kind of push through a little bit here. All right, how are we doing? How are we doing? We are waiting on Vortex right now to review the PR. Yep. All right, let's see. So Vortex is gonna take a minute now, but see, we kind of upgrade now. We did a stack of two PRs, and I think I'm trying to think. Okay, what is the next thing that we really want to? It looks like one of them did pass, but we don't want to merge the top one because we want to merge the bottom ones as well. So we need to wait for both of them to come through. So this is all clear, which is nice. And this is all done. So we're just waiting on this lower PR to complete. Now I'm trying to think about what the next thing we did. So we did migrate to API, the back end to an API, and also we went ahead and added the PM2 manager script. So now I should be able to start up my API service, and I should have my front end be able to connect, and let's see how far we got. So there it is, perfect timing. Looks like Vortex also has reviewed it, and now everything is good. So now let's go to our Graphite, and we can just merge the both PRs like this. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but Graphite is going to merge the bottom stack, and then it's the bottom PR, number 3, and it's going to merge the higher one, number 4. So we're just going to wait. It takes about a minute or two. After everything gets merged, it creates like temporary base branches to merge everything. So here we do have a linked issue. So the issue should also get closed as the PR gets closed. So we're just waiting here for Graphite to finish this merge. It merged the bottom one and it's going to merge the top one as well. Now, we don't really have any CI yet because this is a brand new project, but in the future you would have more CIs and stuff like this, but now Vortex might run a check. I don't know if Cyclone is actually going to, or I don't know if Graphite will actually wait for it, but you know, when you got the base branches changing underneath, it will trigger a review. But usually it comes off with no issues. Sometimes there is some issues that you can check, but another way to do this, you could manually just merge one and then wait for the higher PR to finish reviewing. So see, as you can see here, It did merge, but it looks like it did come through with some issues. Or maybe not. Wait. No, it looks like it's good. It just did not really wait for... It didn't wait for the Vortex to review this. So maybe we let it finish reviewing just in case if there are some additional issues. But we'll just let it ride. This should be okay for now. We just delete the branch. Okay. We'll wait to see if there's any reviews. So at this point, let's go ahead and go back to cursor. And we are going to test what we have built so far. At least so we can get some idea. So let's tell cursor, we merged the PR stack. Please go ahead and git pull origin main so you are in sync. Then bring my API services up with pim2 manager.sh and restart my front end so I can at least test it. What functionality do we currently have? Also, please update the X-Copilot live stream MVP canvas with the current progress of our system. And what's the next thing you would recommend? Very simple. We're just kind of exploring here. We're going to sync up everything locally so we match what we have. So it looks like there's a couple of issues that were detected. And see if we got some errors here because we already merged the PR. So this is still an issue here we can technically address in a small follow-up PR. Also, we merged the PR stack but forgot about this additional issue that Vortex identified. So can you please make a small focused follow-up PR to address this issue? So this is just a little bit of being a being a bit nitpicky, because this is a small issue that was identified after we merged the bottom PR with the top PR. And this is worth addressing in a very small follow-up PR. It'll probably take a couple of minutes to merge. All right, it's just the ecosystem config example file. That will just update a couple of small things. Nothing too crazy. So again, we're still kind of in the process of setting up our infra. Now, what did they say in regards to what's the next thing we should work on? It said what works today: the Vite dashboard, agenda thread, draft planes, verify search, TypeScript sidecar under PM2. Okay, that's what we built. Session verify, UI button plus npm run test session. So that is important. Do we have that already? I'm not too sure. We do have a session verify. PM2 manager logs, yeah, the basic logs with the ecosystem example. And we don't have a search/for you API search is still 501, placeholder card. DeepSeek drafts, API draft is still 501. No auto post intentional. Okay, so it says in the recommended next steps it's to wire session-backed search, agenda/query, home or search timeline, normalize thread cards in the UI. Right, so this is kind of a cool thing. We are going to add that next. So this, again, touches only ecosystem files, so we can let it ride through. We don't really care too much about this right now because we can work on parallel. It's not touching too many things. It's literally just one file. So we can let it ride in the background. So now let's go ahead and work on the next thing that we want to do. I'm thinking the thing that makes the most sense is to figure out the search part, just like the agent suggested. Let's figure out the search. So help me understand how the search works. The idea is that I thought based on our agenda, DeepSeek, based on our agenda, we can give DeepSeek an option to run various search queries, or how would it work? It needs to identify conversation threads or X posts that align with our agenda. What do you recommend? Should we integrate DeepSeek V4 Flash now for search querying, or add some basic manual mode. No search query mode. I think we should just integrate the DeepSeek open code agent now while everything is still fresh. What do you think? So here's the thing that I'm talking about. I'm trying to understand. If we're going to be doing these search queries, we need to give the right query. And, you know, any manual way we do this, it's not going to work. Because if you have a certain agenda, you know, it's going to mean that you're trying to do different query fields. So it's talking about how to make this work. Agenda is not 1x search string. Agenda is intent. DeepSeek's jobs is query planning plus ranking plus drafting, not browsing X itself. The sidecar with your session does the actual fetches. Recommendation: don't lead with open code for search. Approach: manual query only. Okay. Fastest to demo real threads. Cons: weak agenda story. DeepSeek Flash queries plus rank/draft. Matches your product story streamable. Needs API keys. Still needs solid X search client. I thought we already have the X search client set up. The thing is, look at GitHub repos. Don't they have a repo with an X search client we can integrate? I don't need to lead with open code, but at least a simple single DeepSeek LLM call to identify which queries to search for based on our agenda is a good starting point. We really don't care about manual querying, as it's pointless and doesn't align with what we're trying to achieve. So now I would like you to investigate this feature request / architecture upgrade and open up a proper issue on GitHub on our repo, scoping either a single PR for this feature or a stack of PRs via Graphite. Yeah, again, I like this pattern where we just first we create the issue, then we make a plan based on the issue, then we execute the plan and open up our PRs with the issue contexts. So it essentially gives the model 2 times to really figure out exactly what you're looking for and what you're doing. So open code is something I love using for agentic workflows because it gives the LLM turn-based abilities, so you can execute a task and split it into different turns. But in this case, we don't really need to start with open code because open code also is going to eat considerably more tokens. A single LLM call just based on the agenda and a certain couple of queries, it seems like a good starting point because it's very easy to expand from a single LLM code for a single LLM call to an open code session. Let's see what we're doing. Evaluate candidate npm X search library. So we are looking for a couple of npm libraries for the X search. X reader seems to be one, and a thin in repo search timeline client is preferable. It should reuse existing X session headers and query ID. So it's going to figure out a way to do the search. It's a very popular pattern to utilize headers to do any sort of activity on X because you don't have to pay for API credits. The downside is the session might expire. X does update its front end stuff, so at any point it can break. That's the downside, and every couple of days you might need to refresh it. But the huge upside is that you don't have to pay for API credits, and you don't need to subscribe to Dev API. So we do have the issue open. I don't really need to look at it. I will look at it. We have the issue decided on two PRs. Two PRs. We're not doing open code right now, and it gave a nice little architecture. So we're gonna start with this. So we got this issue. So now, based on this issue, I want you to make a proper plan to integrate the features and make sure you add some tests. Do not bother running the tests just yet. Simply add the features because I will need. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and run the test. So I'm gonna go and add a DeepSeek API key, but I'm not gonna expose it as much as I can. So we do need a DeepSeek API key, and I'm gonna grab one right now. I'm just gonna generate a new key just in case we leak it. Let's go ahead. API keys, generate new key, leakable. Careful. Okay, there's an API key. I'm just gonna copy this, paste it into Cursor. Do we have Cursor open just together? No. Okay, good. So here's an API key for DeepSeek, and that's okay. So now we can go back to Cursor, and we're all good here. So I already added the DeepSeek API key, but please make sure you are using V4 Flash, not V4 Pro. We don't need V4 Pro. It's way too expensive for this. And make sure you add some tests and run them nice and easy. Go ahead and make the plan. I mean, again, it's not a great prompt, but we already gave it. The issue is the good prompt, so to speak. It has the full context of everything it needs. And if you look at the issue right now, you can see this is the issue, third issue or sixth issue already. Jeez. So we got this issue right here. We're trying to do a search. And it decided on 2 PRs. It decided on do PR1, feature X search client, and PR2 is the agenda DeepSeek search. This is pretty standard stuff. Again, this looks like an enhancement, but it will still tag this as an issue because that gives context to the review agents. And meanwhile, we have this issue. We can look at, this is the previous PR. Oh my God, I forgot to, okay. So again, here's the issue. We got the agenda, and it decided on doing 2 PRs. Decided on 2 PRs, one for the search client, one for the agenda. And it is an enhancement. And looking at our open PRs, we do have one, which is the previous one for the ecosystem stuff. So that's very easy. You got all okay. It checked out and everything. So we're just going to go ahead and merge this PR and delete the branch. So we do have this ready. And now we're getting ready. Let me switch back to Cursor. Now we're waiting here. We do have a plan. Cursor Graph Formula 5 is still perfectly fine. This is nothing crazy, nothing complicated for AI agent. Very basic stuff, in my opinion. So 2 PRs via Graphite. We should be good on this. So we're probably going to be live for another 10, 20 minutes because I got food coming. So I think we've been live for almost an hour. So it's nice if you guys like this video. If you guys check out this live stream after the fact, please consider subscribing. We'll be doing a lot more live streams, and if you want to follow along with this with us building this repo, I think you guys would enjoy this. I mean, something pretty useful for I think anybody who has an X account. If you're looking to grow your X, this is not against TOS. We're not doing any automatic posting. It's simply a research copilot agent. It researches your agenda, some replies, and so instead of you having to scroll the algorithm and you're just the algorithms whatever the algorithm throws at you is what you see. This way you get a little bit more control over growth, engagement, and I think overall it's a beneficial tool. It's something I was thinking about for a while, especially if I'm trying to grow distribution. Growing your X account is definitely a positive thing, but it's really hard how to grow it, and it takes a lot of time. So you just want to optimize this whole process of growing X account and getting engagement. Sometimes you don't really care about what they have to say, but you just need to follow your agenda. You want to tune in, and you want to chime in to the right conversations that will give you engagement and also provide some value. I think it's a win-win for everybody. And at the end of the day, you still have to manually make the post. It does not do any automatic posting for you. It's a clear out-of-scope issue. We're not interested in doing automatic posting. This is something you can open up a dashboard. Let's say you wake up in the morning and instead of just starting to scroll through X, you start thinking about this as a business. Let's say I want to find my target ICP. I want to find some customers or some users or developers or some founders who are building a certain specific problem, a certain specific product, or people who have certain pain points with some products, or people who are dissatisfied with some things or asking for some features. You can kind of create an agenda to where it's going to do all the hard thinking for you. And it's all going to say, okay, look, this is a cool thread. Open it, and you don't even have to use its responses, but you say this is a cool thread, open it. This is the response that you should give to this person, and you just copy it, remove any em dashes if there's any em dashes, and yeah, everything is pretty simple this way. So again, this is still building. Our cursor right now is building our stack of PRs. The first one is going to be the search client, and the second one is going to integrate it with DeepSeek. So it's pretty fast. Cursor Graph 1.5. I could have used Opus 5 for this, but I think it's way overkill. We don't really need Opus 5 for something crazy. I would use Opus 5 if I'm trying to, let's say, if I have the pipeline set up and I'm trying to optimize, let's say I'm trying to optimize the threads, how we search for threads, or maybe a strategy optimization. That's when I would definitely use Opus 5. Even considerably, I would use it when I'm trying to do, let's say I want PR to just polish the front end. Let's say I'm tired of like the border radius or the theme or the fonts or just the general style of the front end page. This is a great opportunity to have Opus not only do the planning, but actually implement the code, because Opus is extremely nice with front end, but you don't need to do this on every PR. So what it's nice to do with Opus is you just give it the big task at the front, redesign my front end. Bam, it redesigns it, it'll look really good, but if you want any specific fixes, you will always need a couple of specific follow-ups. Never use Opus for that, because specific follow-ups, they don't really change the style of the page. It's mostly just some adjusting some layout shift or just some layout issues, centering divs and stuff like this. You definitely don't need Opus for this, and Grok is going to be extremely nice. It'll keep everything the same style, but it's going to cost you cents on the dollar, which is incredibly important to keep costs low when you're working like this, because if you can keep costs low like me, like Grok 4.5, I use it for mostly everything. I can dev 3, 4, 5, 6 projects at the same time, just continuously write code 24/7, and I'm still not going to run out of usage. It's really powerful. So this seems like it's going to be quite a big, it's going to be a relatively big diff on this one. I'm not sure if we'll have enough time to wait for the review to finish before the stream ends, but regardless, we're gonna wait for the PRs to open. So it is restarting the PM2, and it's very important a lot of times to tell it to run some tests, because you should always be adding tests and running tests. It gives you a nice sanity check for whatever you're building. And a test these days, adding tests is super easy. You don't really need to think about anything. So let's see if we don't have any open PRs yet. We do have that issue open. It's going to be tagged with the 2 PRs once we open them. So we do have, okay, there we go. The 2 PRs are open now. We got 7 and 8. So can you guys see this on Firefox? Here we go. We have PR number 7 and PR number 8. You can also see them in Graphite. There it is. Oh, we're going to open them up in Graphite here. Here we go again, the 2 PRs. Now in this case, because we have this is what I should have done in the last Graphite stack. Because we have the Vortex agent that triggers reviews, so once our first bottom one it's not really ready to merge because it needs to run the review. But once it is actually ready to merge, we're not going to merge all 2 PRs like this. We're not going to just click here and merge 2 PRs. Instead, we're going to merge this bottom one. Then it's going to change it's going to adjust some base branches and kind of change it a little bit. And then when Vortex Vortex is going to get a webhook from GitHub about the base change. So it's going to also do a review, kind of like a together review of this 8th PR with the bottom one already merged, so to speak, on the same branch. And that's going to give us a better overview, because a lot of times Vortex will catch some issues once you merge one PR into another one through a stack. It will find a couple more issues that Cyclone can easily address. So I think this is about it. I thought it's going to be here soon. But yeah, at the end of the day, we got a couple of PRs done here, maybe 7, 8, 9 PRs, 8 PRs from start. So it's not bad. We've only been live here for what, an hour or something, a little bit less than an hour. So this is pretty much how I do a lot of my workflows right now. You know, I open up issues, I create a plan, I open up a stack of PRs, I got my agents that review it, and once the review is all done, we merge it. So as you can see there, we're still doing quite a bit of human overview of everything, kind of sanity checking, but this main pipeline, once it hits the PRs, so once you create the issue, and once the PRs are open, everything past that is pretty automated. There's not much I have to do anything by myself. I just wait however long I need to wait for the code review agents to finish reviewing it. And once everything is done reviewing, at that point I just merge it. Sometimes I'll do some follow-up regression testing. Is always nice. Once you merge everything, restart locally, sync up locally, and make sure that you just do some basic tests to make sure you didn't regress. And then you simply just go on to the next step. And so here, looking at cursor, once those merge, we can close these agendas. Really what we're interested in is this canvas report, and this is what our bigger plans. So we have the plans per PRs that agents do, but I'd always like to have like a bigger plan. Cursor has a nice canvas report. We kind of create a single page canvas file, and it gives you a big picture plan of what you're trying to do. And always, if you're working on multiple projects, you don't want to like expend, you know, your brain power to like each time you switch a project to like go back and say, okay, well, what are we working on? What is the next thing that we want to do? With a report like this, where you kind of generate it ahead of time, see, it's very easy. Okay, we merge these PRs. I'm going to tell it to merge this PR, update the canvas. You're going to update this and going to say, okay, what's the next thing that we need to do? So this is a really nice way. It helps me to kind of keep everything focused. And again, each cursor tab is always going to be one project. Sometimes, you know, you have one project with multiple dependencies, like a mono repo with multiple subfolders, where you can technically work on multiple PRs at the same time from the same workspace. But it gets a little messy. So because each cursor agent kind of gives you one workspace right here on the bottom, you know, yes, you can have different tabs, but you're going to kind of be in the same workspace unless you explicitly tell it. So I like to keep one agent, one workspace, one project. So I don't like to have one tab open with like multiple agents tabs. So all these guys, this is working on a different project. So if I'm in the same server, in the same session, I'm still going to open up a different tab because I'm working on a different project, for example. Just to keep things clean. Because you definitely don't want to have two tabs working on the same project. Sometimes I do that, but I'm very careful about only have one tab at a time doing any code changes. Because if you have one tab changing code and then the second tab in the same project, same workspace changing code, it starts getting conflicts right away. It's going to lead to a whole lot of mess. So going back to here, we do have both the PRs open now, as we mentioned. Let's look at the reviews. Vortex already threw a review on it. It identified a couple of issues. Cyclone is doing the patching. Just the usual stuff. Again, we'll be seeing this pattern a lot. And now we have both of them getting reviewed at the same time. But now remember, once we merge the bottom PR, so once 7 gets merged into 8, or into the same base branch as 8, then Vortex is going to trigger another like mega review. He's going to take all the code from 7, because that's going to technically have a diff. He's going to take all the code from 7 and 8, and well, since it's on 8, it's going to do the review on PR number 8, but with PR number 7 codes already there. All right, so I think that's about it, guys. I think we're going to probably stop it right here, and we'll get back to this tomorrow, I hope. We'll try to do one stream a day. We'll slowly just work on one project, and hope you guys can learn something from this, from these kind of developer workflows. I really hope that most of you guys, especially vibe coders, one of the things that helped me the most, just completely 100x my output, quality, and speed, is doing proper GitHub pull requests and proper GitHub workflows. So, you know, I started using GitHub a couple of years ago. I always known about GitHub. Obviously, I've used GitHub for a decade at least, but I've only recently really started using GitHub religiously for all my projects. And as soon as you start using GitHub, you understand PRs is the proper workflows. You don't want to just push to main. PRs with tests, and once you start doing PRs, you understand, okay, well, if you have PRs, you got to review them properly. So a code review agent pipeline is the next logical step. And then once you have the code review agent pipeline set up, with your PRs like we have right now, if you guys can see, let me go ahead and show you guys the PRs. So as you can see, they're getting reviewed. So if you want to elevate your vibe coding, first thing I would recommend is start doing PRs. So anytime you open a feature or do something, open up a pull request and then merge it. Even without a review, just merge it, because this way it'll get you in the right habit. Once you get pretty good at doing the PRs, there's so many code review agents. So again, the PR gets opened automatically. The review agents just review it. Right now, Cyclone did the patch. And usually the way I started doing this is once you do the Cyclone, like once you get the review done, usually I would manually do the patches, because I would like to have some control over the code and understand exactly what I'm patching. But after doing that so many times and realizing all I'm doing is just copy pasting this to my agent, barely reading this, I said, well, we just need to create our own agent that automatically patch it. Makes it 100 times faster and not really start blazing through PRs. So this is just the one thing about the Cyclone agent. And let me see if I can show you guys. So we have the stack of PRs. Again, the way we're going to do this is going to merge the bottom one, and then we're going to do the top. Not at the same time. Before we can do both PRs like this, but it's not going to work well. So again, we're just still waiting here on Vortex to give us the all clear about the top level PR as well. It looks like it's getting some work done on it as well. So yeah, at this point, it's just a waiting game until we get everything done. We don't have any CIs yet as well. It'd be nice to add some CI maybe in the next couple of PRs, but this has been a pretty good session so far, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. My food is here, so I do have to go. But we've done quite a bit of stuff here. We set up the scaffold for the project. We migrated to proper PM2 manager. We got proper infra set up. We got the X session cookies set up. We got DeepSeek wired in. Right now, all we have is the two PRs. We get them merged. So tomorrow, when I do this live stream, we'll start right from here, and the goal will be to continue and maybe actually get the MVP rolled out and start to actually show the threads and render them beautifully. So it'll give you a nice little cool tool. Thank you guys all so much for checking out this video. If you guys want to stop and by and check out Mergestorm.ai, I can give you I can upgrade your account for to a higher limit. If you guys want, maybe I can give some of you guys a starter account to try out for a little bit. Highly recommend you guys try it out. And thank you again so much for checking out the stream. I'll see you guys in the next